When I'm 13 or 14 years old, I see a picture of Elle Fanning. She is 17, and her hair is golden blonde, just like the sun. In Vietnam, my home country, we have the most radiant, poetic sun. Yes, the sun is poetic. Growing up, I always try to touch it. When I do, it reflects all of me back to me. My sadness, excitement, the abhorrence for the tropical heat in Vietnam, seriously, it's hot, and dreamy, poetic sensations, my home, adulthood, and a sense of groundedness. In the picture of Elle Fanning, the paparazzi capture her stepping out of a gym. I admire her, beautiful, energetic, and youthful. That's a woman growing up, I think. The idea of being 17, turning into a working, independent beauty queen like Elle Fanning is dominant. But as it turns out, 17 doesn't go the way of Elle Fanning at all. It turns out to be the lacuna, the gap that I forever wants to forget. It's 2020, COVID had just started, and I'm going into the second semester of 11th grade. I've been giddily awaiting to turn 17, the magical year, the year of Elle Fanning. And I've been waiting ever since I turned 16. At 16, I'm quite depressed. I bury myself in books and get very lonely. No matter how much I stare out the window, or journal, or read, it's not enough. I have no close friends. Even books become boring because I can only believe in what I can see or touch. Adulthood and consciousness tear apart the magical pink veil. I start having a boyfriend. He's a classmate. My first romantic relationship. Except there's no romance. One day, he come up to me and says, "I think we should date." Within the first week, I feel excited and confused. I think, this is it. This is the solution to my desperation being 16. By the second week, I want to break up. We're not compatible. I want quiet time with books, and he wants me to care, and he wants to care to ask me about my day, my life. He wants me to care back. He says, "If you don't try to make it work, how will you know if you really like this relationship or not?" I want to talk back, but I don't know how to say, "No, thank you. A more interesting life awaits me." If I can... Thank you, yes. If I can just hold out this year and a couple more years, my life will be fucking fabulous. Instead, he kisses me, and we go back to dating. It's our first kiss. We sit in a yard near the school. The sky is blue, the sun is bright, and our uniforms smell like laundry detergent. He puts his hand on my chin. It would be so romantic, but honestly, I just want to do away with this boy who just put his wet mouth on mine without consent. Except, I don't know what consent is. That kiss is just the beginning. The touching, then more kissing, the taking clothes off. Every time it happens, I am numb and stupefied. Every time we have sex, I tell myself again and again, your body is just a chunk of flesh. Your skin will change and forget. You're not actually here with a person you don't love. But I am there, and all of it happened. It begins in the last month of 16. After that kiss, I never freely touched the sun again, although I test it sometimes. just to see if it suffocates me, the way it did during that first kiss. Then suddenly, 2 weeks after I finally turned 17, I find myself waiting for my parents to leave for work. Then I go to the pharmacy, alone, and buy the emergency contraceptive, 1 pill. My hands tremble. I take the pill, keep the prescription in my wallet, the invincible evidence that the pill actually existed and went into my womb, so that I don't have to worry about my amnesia, my memory convincing me this never happened. I stare into a mirror, and a big pair of red, teary eyes stare back at me. I don't know who I am. The next few days, my hands continue to tremble, and I go through constant nausea, extreme heartbeats, mood swings, frequent dizziness, anxiety, and burning shame. I'm trying to keep up appearances, but really, I'm waiting for something to quietly slip out from inside of me. I have PTSD when I watch, hear, or even think about sex. I cannot watch movies where people kiss or even flirt. I run out of the room crying uncontrollably, come back, and pretend like nothing happened, that I only went out to sneeze. I need someone to talk to, so I date my boyfriend for a year before we break up. I read The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I see the women in hoods reduced to their uterus and the ability to give birth. I lie on the floor of my house and feel the coldness of the wooden gym floor that the handmaids lie on in the story. I feel vulnerable and burning with anger, realizing that my body decides the extent to which I can dream, the extent to which I can feel my emotions, and what kind of a human I can be. At 17, I learned that I have a body, and that body belongs to me. I must take care of it, and I get to say what I want to do with it. At 17, I also try to forget the many things that happen and fail. After 1 or 2 years more, I start to wonder if maybe not trying to forget is easier. Although relief doesn't come with 18 or 19, they are the years I learn to remember. Remember my past, remember my pain, how I believed in love and tried to love in vain. Remember his face and my big red, teary eyes. I turned 21 2 months ago. Having gone to university, having met so many new people, having felt many different emotions, I've once again touched the sun in many places around the globe. Sometimes the story gets old to me when I tell it. What's so new or different about this story? I ask myself. Why do people need to hear about a teenage girl fucking up, then trying to find herself back? At 21, I'm trying to learn to answer these questions. And hopefully, the answer will be something like: bởi vì để học yêu và biết yêu, ta phải kể chuyện mình ra. Because it's hard to fall in love and be loved when you don't tell your story. If I don't tell my story will consume me and eat me up alive. I tell this story to forgive myself. I tell this story to be able to keep touching the sun.